somebody is giving you this advice, you might really want to reconsider where you're getting your fantasy analysis from. The first is draft Jonathan Brooks at 96. The second is fade Austin Eckler at 100. We're going to talk about Jonathan Brooks first, and I'm just going to give you the quick skinny on it because I already addressed this all in my rounds 5 through 8 fantasy analysis video where I brought up all the PFF data points. But plain and simple, Jonathan Brooks is not going to live up to 96th overall for a number of reasons. Now, people are arguing the Carolina Panthers used their second round pick on him and they traded up to get him. Yes, they did. But the Carolina Panthers are not in win now mode. They are using Jonathan Brooks as an investment piece. He might be great next season. Don't get me wrong. He might be a steal next season. This season, he is not. He's coming off a major injury, and the Carolina Panthers are aware of this. They're so aware of this that a week after drafting him, they picked up Rashad Penny in free agency. You don't go pick up another player if you're planning on using that draft pick as a workhorse running back. They have 4 running backs on the roster. They got Rashad Penny now, Jonathan Brooks, and Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders are still hanging around there as well. They know the severity of Jonathan Brooks' injury. He had a grade 3 ACL tear, and there's an increased chance of re-aggravating that injury post-surgery. Do you think the Carolina Panthers, who are nowhere near win-now mode, are going to rush Jonathan Brooks onto that field? No, absolutely not. They are going to give him as much rehab time as possible. And even when he does get on that field, do you think they're going to rush and give him 20, 25 carries right out the gate? No, absolutely not. They are drafting him for next year. And even hypothetically, which it's not going to be the case, but hypothetically, let's say Jonathan Brooks becomes a featured back. The Carolina Panthers' run blocking is awful. And they did absolutely nothing to address it. They didn't address it in the draft. They barely addressed it in free agency. They brought in Yosh Nijman, who has a 57 run blocking grade on PFF. 57 is not good. Additionally, the Carolina Panthers almost always trail at halftime. That is the worst game script for a running back because there is no team in the NFL that when they're trailing in the second half, they say, well, we need to make up ground by rushing. No, they're going to start throwing the ball. Come on. So if anybody's giving you this draft Jonathan Brooks advice, hey, it's your life. You do what you do. But I'm just saying, really reconsider where you're getting your fantasy analysis from. All right, the second point here, fading Austin Eckler at 100. No, stop. People are mad at Austin Eckler, and I get that. He's got the Najee Harris effect where he didn't live up to his draft capital last year, right? In those early rounds, he didn't live up to that. But he does not deserve to be all the way back at 100th overall. When you get burned by a player, you want to avoid him for the rest of your life, but you can't live in that mindset, especially when they're entering a new team and an entirely new opportunity. Austin Eckler's season last year was nowhere near as bad as people are making it sound. Again, it was not anywhere near where he was drafted at, but he put up over 20 points in 35% of his games. What more can you ask for from 100th overall? I'll take that all day. If you put up over 20 points in 35% of your games, especially in best ball, at 100th overall, that's a value pick of the century right there. He's still got his hands too. He had a 70% catch rate on 74 targets last year. He averaged more points per game than Ramondre Stevenson and DeAndre Swift. And you got to think about who his new coordinator is. Cliff Kingsbury. Again, a character that people love to hate, and I get it because he does come off as a little egotistical, a little annoying, especially when there was that draft video of him in his mansion. You know, it didn't appeal to the common folks at all. But nonetheless, we cannot avoid the fact that Cliff Kingsbury values pass-catching running backs, and that's what they brought Austin Eckler in to do. You guys remember when Chase Edmonds was briefly reliable in fantasy? That's because he was in a Kingsbury offense where he had 53 receptions in 2020. James Conner had 46 receptions under the Kingsbury offense in 2022, which is almost double what he got once Kingsbury left. Kingsbury likes pass-catching running backs, and Austin Eckler can be a PPR monster with points in the flat. Again, if he was going in the 60s and the 70s, okay, that seems a little bit more appropriate. But at 100th overall, if you are fading Austin Eckler and drafting someone like Jonathan Brooks instead, reevaluate things. Please reevaluate things. Now, if you don't need a running back around 100th, okay, Brock Purdy's hovering around there. Jackson Smith and Jigba, if you want to take a big swing on that after some of the recent news came out that the Seahawks are loving him this year. But if you need a running back in that round, please pick Austin Eckler over Jonathan Brooks. All right, that's all I got for y'all today. Go ahead, please hit that subscribe so I can bring you some more fantasy content. We'll be doing props, fantasy, DFS, everything all season long, and I'm definitely here to help.